How's it going? I thought that it would be a cool idea for me to show you guys how I mix my paint. I have made a previous video where I showed my recipe, but I don't think I really talked about it. So I thought that today I would do a demonstration while actually painting and talk through it a little bit more. So I have just mixed up my golden ultramarine blue, which I think is probably my favorite pigment out there right now. I mix it with Floetrol, and also this is my, can you see it? Yak 800 by Golden Acrylics. I mix it in this handy dandy mixing cup. I mix every single one of my pigments in this specific cup because I have marked it with the proportions that I want. So down here you see I have two parts Floetrol, and then I have 3 parts GAC 800, and then I have a line up here for one part pigment, whatever pigment I want. And then I mix it up really good. And I try to be as environmentally conscious as possible with my containers, so I reuse containers, not only taking stuff out of the recycling, but I reuse them again and again. So this is the one that already had my ultramarine blue in it before. It's an old rubbing alcohol bottle. And I have rinsed it out and washed it, and I lost the cap, so I did find another cap to use. I'm just gonna pour it in, and I don't use a funnel or anything. I just try to be careful. I'm a messy painter. You've probably seen in previous videos that I get paint all over my hands and my shoes and my clothing. Wow, that fit perfectly, didn't it? But you know, I'm just used to being covered in paint, and that's okay. Like you're either with it or you're not. I have succumbed to being paint covered, and that's okay. All right, so that's color number 1, and I'm going to wash this cup out with soap and water, and then I'll walk you through mixing another one, and we'll do it step by step. So you just saw the tail end of that one, but we'll do another color together. I've washed my cup, and we are going to next mix up this, which is Golden Fluid Acrylics Green Gold. This is my mom's favorite color. It's a pretty color, so we'll try that. I have a container, you can see that I already had filled up, and it's just running low, so I'm just gonna fill it back up after we get it mixed up. What I have done is I do use Floetrol right here. I like to strain my Floetrol because I have had instances where not only do I get trash in my paint, which I can't imagine is coming from the Golden products, which means it's coming from this. I just have too much faith in Golden products to think that they have trash in their paint. I strained my Floetrol, and it has definitely helped a ton. Also, I had a few instances where, well, one time I made the mistake of mixing up my white and using an old Floetrol bottle as the container for my white, and I don't think I'd rinsed it out very well. So then I got these, I think what was dried up Floetrol in my paint mixture, and then it rehydrated and created these clear spots that ended up being divots and cracks and just general unevenness in my paint. So I do not use these containers, and when I do use, well, my Floetrol, I strain. So you can buy paint strainers. This is my strained Floetrol in this container, and I ran out of strainers, so I found this, which I think came with some jewelry in it or something, and I just strain my paint in this. I pour it through and I hold this little tag, and it falls down in there, and then I can just wash this, and it's good as new. So this is my Floetrol. This is my mixing cup. Again, you see the measurements there. So here we go. I'm going to tilt this down a little. There you are. And we're going to start with the Floetrol. Maybe you can see in the light that it goes right up to the line. You also see my nice puddle here on the table because I'm a messy painter. And then I've shaken up the GAC 800, but I'm not straining it. And that goes up to this cup does have enough residue on it that it's hard to see, but there's the next line. And then I'm gonna shake up my green gold. Again, this is the fluid line of golden. I use the fluid line because the viscosity is already closer to what I'm going for. Viscosity means the thickness or thinness of the paint, the wateriness. The more viscous a paint is, the thicker it is, the more it would like stand up and you could almost sculpt it on the surface of the canvas. This is a low viscosity paint, meaning it's closer to the consistency of water. Someone asked me in one of my videos on the comment section how the paint doesn't, why the paint doesn't, why the paint doesn't mix more when I'm doing all the agitation to it, swiping and such. And that's because of the friction in the paint. So the more viscous your paint is, the less it's going to mix. So because this is a low viscosity, it will mix with the paints next to it more than a thicker paint would, but still not as much as water. You could imagine that if you had a cup of water and you mixed several paints into that, several watery colors into that, that they would just all eventually create a mud, sort of like your watercolor mixing cup. But because this is thicker, they sort of live together in harmony without mixing. But if it was an even thicker paint, then it would mix even less. Here we go. Green gold. There we have it. And I don't stir it extremely thoroughly because I'm going to, once it's in the bottle and I'm ready to paint, I shake them up really well at that point. All right, so we'll pour it in here and we'll move on to the next color. Iridescent silver. This is one of my favorites. It has made lots of beautiful paintings for me. So we'll get to mixing. Hopefully you can see the iridescence as I'm mixing it. It's beautiful. Metallic, shiny. And we're gonna put it in this container, which is almost empty. Usually that fits in there perfectly, but because there was a little bit left, I have a little extra. So I'm gonna have to find an extra container to put the extra silver in. You can make your own color combinations as long as you keep the pigment ratio the same to the GAC 800 and the Floetrol. So I have already added my Floetrol and my GAC 800, but I have not added any pigment yet. And what I want to do is I want to make an indigo-ish purple color. I have two versions of them here. This one, what's left over in here, though it looks more, looks almost like a phthalo blue on the screen that I'm looking at, but it is an indigo, which is ultramarine blue mixed with a little bit of quinacridone magenta, which are these two pigments right here. I have one upside down because it's almost gone. We'll just see how much we get out of it and then add the blue and see what color we get. The second one I have was a more purplish color because I added even more magenta. So I don't know what we're gonna get as far as the ratio of magenta to blue based on how much is left in this bottle of the magenta. And I do have some magenta mixed up, plenty, so I'm not gonna make a pure magenta today. I just wanted to show you that you can mix them together. So this, what was left in this magenta bottle of fluid acrylic golden paint got me maybe a third of the way up of the one part of pigment. So what I'll do now is I will go up to the line here with the ultramarine blue, and then we'll mix them and see. I don't know if you can tell how full it is in there because you can't see through the cup because it's a mess. But I can see the line through the cup, and I am filling it up to the line, which is about right there. We'll see if it turns out to be this color or this color once we mix it. I don't know, because I don't remember what ratio. Oh, that's way too pink. Here comes the blue. There we go. Isn't that lovely? I might just combine them all together because this looks sort of somewhere in between the two that I had. I think it's on the purple side, so I'm going to put it in the purple bottle. I have a phthalo blue, which is a greener blue, and ultramarine blue is a redder blue, a more red blue, a warmer blue. Phthalo blue is a cool blue, ultramarine blue is a warm blue. So you wouldn't want to add magenta to phthalo blue to get a purple. You'll just get a yuck color. You have to understand which colors are warm and cool in their undertones before you know which direction to go with mixing them. And I have a blog post regarding that on my website, and I'll put the title in the lower screen so you can go search for it on my website, hoelscherart.com. So I'm filling the bottle. I filled the wrong one. Oh well. I am going to combine them because I screwed up. Plus I don't really like this purpley color anyway. Just put them all together and I'll wash out this bottle. Yeah, there's hardly anything in there anyway. I'm not too keen on the true purple. I just like a more purple blue. Indigo. Indigo's my bag. All right. So there we have our indigo. Again, a mixture of ultramarine blue and quinacridone magenta. That's this one. and this one, which is now all gone. Less of this, more of that, obviously. Actually, the blue is sort of a stronger pigment anyway, so it will tend to take over, but you still don't need equal proportions of those two. Okay, I ran out and got some strainers, so I will show you what they look like. I got them at my local hardware store in a little package like this, and they are basically funnels with a little bit of mesh in the bottom. So when you put them in a container like this, you could pour your Floetrol into that funnel and it will strain out, oops, it will strain out any trash that is in your Floetrol. I've found that there are chunks. It might not be trash, it might be more like just dried bits, flaky bits, but you don't want those in your painting, so I would suggest straining. Also, the other thing that I wanted to mention is why I use Golden brand paints. I love Golden brand paints. They are one of the, if not the highest quality of acrylics out there. They're definitely the most user-friendly because their website is full of all kinds of resources. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them. I don't get any money from them. I just really believe in their product. On their website, they have a professional newsletter that comes out with all kinds of state-of-the-art tips and tricks and just how-to and proper uses for all of their hundreds of different mediums. The density chart for their pigments, and that's also known as specific gravity. So the paints all have binders that are pretty standard and flow agents, but the pigments themselves that make the colors are made up of a wide variety of materials, from organic to inorganic materials, and each one of those things has a different density. This is a way that you can predict how your paint will behave when you layer one on top of the other. You can predict which ones will fall through others to create that cellular formation without using silicone. I don't ever use silicone in my paints. I only use my knowledge of the specific gravity, the density of each pigment. For instance, titanium white is much more dense than Hansa Yellow Medium. Hansa Yellow Medium is one of the lighter pigments. It's going to always rise to the top, and I have learned that the hard way. Even though I knew that and saw that in the chart, I was super surprised as I began to paint that the yellow tended to take over my paintings. And if you look in my earliest paintings, you'll see a lot of them are very yellow. In fact, this iconic image that I love so much, I wasn't expecting it to be so yellow, but this Hansa Yellow Medium that I use has a very light density. It's very undense, is not dense compared to the others. I have remedied that factor sometimes by tinting it with titanium white. Also, another tinting agent you could use is zinc white, which is like one of the densest pigments they have because zinc is very dense and it literally has zinc in it. You can tint with that. It's more of a transparent white, even though it's really dense. It's a more transparent white than the titanium white. And it will help to make the yellow not rise to the top. Or, I guess it doesn't rise to the top, the other ones fall through it. So there you have it. That is how I get away with not using silicone to create the cellular patterns. Also, I highly recommend you checking out GAC 800 as your pouring medium. It it is definitely on the expensive side compared to others. So if you're just experimenting and having fun, maybe this isn't the product for you. But if you want high quality, wow factor, this product is amazing. It creates a high gloss finish. Now when you mix it with the Floetrol tends to matte the paint, so you end up with more of a semi-gloss or satin with the combination of the two products. But if you use GAC 800 exclusively without Floetrol, you're not going to get the cellular formation, because Floetrol is what helps to get the cellular formation. But you can really get a runny, low viscosity, glossy paint with the GAC 800. So there you have it. That's how I mix my paints. That is my recipe. 3 parts GAC 800, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, no silicone, and I'm pretty happy with my results. Let me know what you think. And also let me know in the comments if you have any further questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell icon in order to get notifications of all my newest videos. Check out my website where you can buy my paintings and my merch, like this awesome t-shirt. I've got bookmarks, I've got coasters, I've got magnets and stickers and pillows for your couch. Lots of awesome stuff you can check out on my website, as well as all of the paintings that I make are available for sale on my website, which is hoelscherart.com. Check you later. Thanks for watching. Alright, so that is today's demonstration on how to mix paint. We did a indigo, which is an ultramarine with quinacridone, ultramarine blue and quinacridone magenta mixture to make indigo. We have our green gold. We did a iridescent silver, and we did our ultramarine blue. I'm gonna mix a bunch more. Always can use more white and black, and we'll do some other colors that I'm needing, but you get the idea. Because I don't remember what ratio. Oh, that's way too pink. Here comes the blue. There we go. Isn't that lovely? Indigo's my bag. And it will strain out. Oops. Hey, one more thing. If you haven't visited my channel lately, you might not know that I have a new playlist called Resin, incorporating into my acrylic pour paintings. On this playlist we have some instructional videos at the beginning, and then it goes to more demonstrational videos where you see how I do my layering technique. There are almost 30 videos that show different ways that I've incorporated resin under, between, and on top of different artworks. So check it out. Let me know what you think. It's a whole playlist just for those of you that are resin lovers.